Hello everybody, I'm Ray. Welcome back and welcome if you've joined recently. Thank you for subscribing. It really is wonderful to see so many people and to be connected with so many people experiencing this amazing and sometimes challenging path of remembering the truth of who you are. So thank you. I want to start with something, start with a question, and it's related to the post I put on this morning about breaking through that glass ceiling of self-imposed limitation, how we can get into cycles, repetitive cycles that keep us stuck for some reason in life. And what has come up from me today, and it's something I feel inspired and guided to share. And before I ask you this question, I just want you to be in that state of presence. I know you're listening to me, but just be in a state of receiving what I'm about to say. And when you hear the question, rather than think about the answer, feel. Does it awaken something within you? So I've built it up so much now. Are you ready? The question is, do you remember how powerful you are? Okay, I feel this question to be so important, so significant, because there's an awakening that's happening where an important part of that is remembering how powerful we are. Okay, and part of the process, an important part of the process of awakening is the process of empowerment, of taking back power, of waking up to where we have either given our power away, we have lost our power, quite simply we've forgotten how powerful we are. And this isn't a call to anarchy, this is about personal empowerment. Okay, and it's so important. I found that on my own path, and I think it's very relevant to the question that was brought up about the negative cycles that we can get into where we feel disempowered, actually. And I feel this is very connected to the cycle of suffering that we can be in as humans, as people. And it's not a term I like, but it's what we think of as an addiction to suffering. And I prefer to see it more as a cycle of suffering that we get pulled into again and again and again, and it keeps us in that space of limitation and lack, because in some way we've lost our power, you know. And part of that is because we've forgotten how powerful we are as creators, as creative beings, okay, as creators of our reality. And we get stuck in these cycles and we feel powerless, okay. We can look out there in the world, see what's happening, and we can feel powerless. But the moment we come back to presence and we reconnect and remember the truth of who we are, remember that we have choice, and it is in that space of presence and reconnecting that we can start to take back our power. Okay, I'm going to show you how that works with something like depression or being pulled into negative cycles of thinking, negative thinking, and how we can seemingly become stuck in a limited experience of life where we feel powerless to effect lasting change. And I'm speaking from experience. I've struggled with this. There's an understanding that, first and foremost, thoughts are creative. We are always creating, whether we're conscious of that or not. And when we get stuck in that cycle of negativity or cycle of suffering, we get pulled into the interconnection between the creativity of our thoughts, or the way that our thoughts have been created around a certain experience, or experiences that are repeated over time because of that cyclical nature of how we get pulled into cycles of suffering. And what happens is we can get stuck in a loop, okay? Thoughts that replay on a repeat cycle, the negative cycles of thinking, which in turn create a reaction in the body. They release chemicals, and so we start to feel that in the body, which in turn feeds into the cycle of thinking. And it's no wonder we get stuck in it. No wonder we feel powerless. Okay, but to understand that is already empowering. That's why it happens. These negative thoughts create a release in the brain and the nervous system. The body receives that, and then you're in that cyclical loop. And there's also the effect of triggers, and how that also feeds into this repeat cycle of depression or negative thinking or anxiety, self-doubt. There are so many ways that we lose our power and get pulled back into these cycles. Okay, so how do we break out? First of all, that awareness is empowering. Okay, we understand what's happened. We're not our thoughts, we're not our feelings. Our feelings are there to give us information about our experience in the moment. And when we come back into presence, we can connect with those experiences from an empowered state. Okay, only if you're remembering just how powerful you are. And it's in that present moment you can start to create with awareness and to make different choices. You can start by meeting yourself in the moment and what it is your body is communicating, showing you. But as you sit with that feeling, you're not sitting there going, what's wrong with me? How do I fix this? How do I change my thoughts? How do I break out of this cycle? You're sitting there, you're recognizing what you're feeling, okay? And that's healing in itself. You're letting the body show you, where was this created, okay? And by bringing your awareness into the body, you're awakening consciousness, bringing it into awareness. But at the same time, there's an opportunity to shift the focus of your attention. And I think this is really important, okay? Because we can heal, and we can also get stuck in that cycle of healing, bringing our attention and focus to what needs fixing, okay? And the more you give your attention to something, the more you'll find exactly that, So the ability to shift your focus, it's like bringing your head up. You've still got your presence within, but you're lifting your gaze, you're bringing your head up. And even with that, stance, it's like, I am powerful. I have choice. What do I choose to create? Okay? And by taking back your power, because depression, for example, is a feeling of powerlessness that's been created at some point in the past. And what we're doing is we're starting to take back our power in the present. Now, don't get me wrong, because I know how strong the feelings in the body are and how they feed into the negative cycles of thinking and vice versa. But it's by becoming present, by understanding that you are powerful. I keep on getting this as a reminder that comes in, have we forgotten how powerful we are? And I feel deeply that this message is so important for anybody on the path of awakening, of remembering who they are, who perhaps has some healing to do. That is very much part of the path. Spirituality isn't just angels and light. It's not just love, light. There is some alchemy. There's some healing. But everything shifts when we start to remember just how powerful we are. And we step into that power. Okay? And we don't force it. That's why I asked you perhaps just to sit and receive that, question, to allow it to arrive in consciousness, to see if it awakens anything within you that you start to remember. Yes, I am powerful. This is what I choose. Okay, I break the cycle of suffering. This feels very powerful as I say it, and I also know from experience and from feeling into my own experience that what you speak aloud, the truth that you speak, is powerful, okay? And spoken with awareness, with intention, even if you don't fully feel that you embody it yet, okay? You can feel if it resonates, if there is truth there for you, okay? So maybe just take a moment now and claim that for your truth, if it resonates. Yes, I am powerful. I am a powerful creator of my reality. It feels good. It feels good. And again, I know from experience, from following this path and very intuitively and remembering that it is possible to effect incredible change in your life that then ripples out. The change starts here, but it ripples out into your life, and it ripples out into the people and their lives that you touch. It is powerful. We are powerful. We have the power to create positive change, to create incredibly beautiful experiences. And it's our choice. We have agency, we have choice as soon as we're present, and it's what do we choose to create? How do we choose to show up? And if you're struggling at the moment, choose to give yourself compassion, choose to create space for your power, for your healing. It's a very personal journey, but I wanted to share that message with you, particularly for anybody struggling on their path of healing, or struggling with whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, depression, anxiety, mental health. It's all part of how everything is connected, how our thoughts are creative, and breaking out of that cycle of suffering, taking back our power as human beings. We are powerful. We are so powerful. Okay? So I'll leave you with that thought, and I'll come back with some more specific guidance, tips on healing with energy and breaking that pattern or cycle, the connection between the creativity of thoughts, negative thoughts, and what we're experiencing in the body. But I believe that's a very good place to start, to come back into presence and to sit with that truth, if it resonates. I am powerful. What do I choose to create? Okay? So thank you for being here. Let me know what you think. Please share your thoughts in the comments, like and share and all that jazz. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next post.